Yes. This is so exciting.
I know, I'm super excited. So we're live. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney Danielle, and I am a beauty influencer, travel influencer, and overall entrepreneur here on social media. And I want to thank you all so much for coming and for joining us for this extremely necessary conversation. First of all, I want to thank One Club for having us, for having me and Ashley. This is super exciting. So, to get
live. Okay.
So,
Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney Danielle.
A little bit of a delay, getting some feedback. So, I mean, let's go ahead and get started. Ashley, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
I would love to. Hello, everyone. My name's Ashley Rudder, and thank you so much for having me on the One Club, and also thank you for being here with me as well, Courtney. I'm the Global Director of Digital Content and Artistry for MAC, and that's what my role is, and that's why I can't wait to talk to everyone about.
Awesome. So let's jump right into the first question. Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at MAC Cosmetics. Feel free to discuss anything along your journey that's going to be like inspiring, and just to kind of clue us into what exactly you do.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, I should start off by saying I've been with MAC for 20 years, and I've been a fan of MAC and a user of MAC since I was 16. So MAC's been in my life for a really long time. And I think that it is pretty interesting to see all the different touch points that I've had with MAC and like where I am now. But when I very first started, I don't know if there's any Southerners in the house, but I'm from Dallas, Texas. And I started off as a 15-hour part-timer at a MAC counter in Dillard's. And so if anyone knows what Dillard's is, that's where I started. And it was like, it's right next to UT Arlington, which is a really diverse, very international school. And so where that part of the city is, it just provided such a beautiful, ethnically rich experience as a makeup artist. And I was obsessed with learning with every age, every skin color, every eye shape, all the different beautiful bits and pieces of everyone's physical beauty fingerprint is what I was really obsessed with. And, you know, I think a lot of people think that, you know, makeup seems a little bit just like about a physicality. It can be shallow, but it's really so much more than that. Whenever you're a makeup artist, and I'm sure you could speak to this, Courtney, it's just like, and as a makeup lover, when you want to talk about beauty, you're really actually talking about you architecting how you physically want to present yourself to the world. And that could be based on your mood, if you have something special going on, if you just need, you know, some time to kiki at the counter with more people.
Right.
You can have that piece, that little bit of fun with your image and also with others. So I just loved all the things that I learned about what crafts a person's self-esteem, what's really going to work for them, being a great listener, because, you know, people come with either they're sweating or they're oily or they're dry. You know, people really come to you as an expert, and I just love my time being a makeup. I still am a makeup artist. I still have clients because that's just so close to me. And but I mean, just like, let's fast forward. And another part of my career, other than working at the counter, which was so integral, is also as a senior artist. I was a senior artist in LA. And so that's just, if you guys don't know this, like MAC has this team, this pro team, and they attend Fashion Week, and they do all the makeup behind the scenes for shows, and they work on film, they work on music videos. If a celebrity wants a MAC artist, or they want us, just someone they know us, they call the brand, and we're the ones who are designated as artists who can speak with celebrities, and we go on TV and we can speak about the brand. So we're really just brand ambassadors, like on so many different facets. And it's just really, again, another thing about MAC is just how important it is that everyone has a place. And even the senior artist group is incredibly diverse. We all brought something to the table that was different. And my piece of that was really about the social media, was really about doing a lot of digital content. That was really my shtick. And what I taught a lot of classes on, which was, you know, transforming and how to really read into beauty magazines, pop culture, and then devise your own beauty image and how you picked it on online, because I just find that so incredibly fascinating that in this space we can be whatever we want to be. So I guess that just really kind of piggybacks to where I am now, which is as the director of digital content and artistry, I am responsible for, I curate all of and come up with the creative digital marketing strategy, the creative strategy that's visualized on all of the social platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of them globally. So, you know, we have a lot to do and it's a tiny team, but again, I really love Mac for being that maverick that listened to me as an artist. Cause I mean, my pitch was I was really so obsessed with content creation and also being so close to the brand from a personal perspective and a pro perspective. I wrote this job description and sent it to Philippe Pinatel, sent it to the creative director at the time. And I just said, hey, I think you guys should have me run your social. And for these reasons, and this is what I want to do with it. And really had this strategy built out. And they said, you're right, you should run it. And that's why I'm in New York right now.
That is awesome. That story is amazing because I love that you went from a makeup enthusiast and makeup lover to literally creating your own position and doing it on a global level. That is like inspiring for sure. Like that's amazing. So, and I related to so many of the things that you said, just how you really use makeup to architect what you want to look like. And it depends on your mood. Like right now, we're all sitting at home in quarantine. I've been doing light makeup because I just want a nice, fresh look. But then if I'm filming a video and I want to go full on glam, but it really does, it has everything to do with your mood, how you want your eyes to look, how snatched and contoured you want to be. So I love that.
Yes. Seriously. I mean, and everyone wants to celebrate something about themselves. And sometimes you want to minimize something about yourself. And makeup is just, I mean, you're really quite the artist when you can bend and move and transform your features. It's such a powerful thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's really jump into this conversation. Today we're talking about the intersection of beauty, marketing, and diversity. So in recent brand launches, we've seen a surge in major beauty brands launching diverse campaigns, expanding their shade range in an effort to be more inclusive. And while inclusivity in the beauty industry is relatively new to the conversation, MAC has been doing this for years. I can attest to that because I remember MAC was one of the first brands that I started using. This has been going on for decades. So can you kind of tell us a little bit more about MAC's early campaigns and how they had diversity and inclusion in them?
Absolutely. I mean, whoa, okay, so if you don't know, MAC was hitting the scene in 1984 is when it began, and it was really a pioneer of just even its stance within the beauty space, because it came into the space as this is loved and used by celebrities and makeup artists and the people who make that enviable, that aspirational look. I mean, just think about who was on the scene at the time, and they were bringing that pro quality, TV quality, aspirational makeup product to the world, to the everyday person, because you know, we all know those historical brands that were in the space. There wasn't a lot of color shade range. It was like, you know, very niche when it came to who could cater to deeper skin, and let alone like the different wavelengths within that space. So yeah, MAC hit the scene and was offering liquids, powders, and creams in a full cornucopia of shades and have people achieving that look. I mean, when I think about it myself, even in the 90s, I was, you know, wanting to look like TLC. I was wanting to look like Mary J. Blige. I was wanting to look like Christina Aguilera had this one hot pink lip that, and they were the ones that could get me there. They could make me have that celebrity level matte skin that I wanted. And they have always done that. Even when I think about like in fast forwarding to like our Viva Glam campaigns, you know, RuPaul was the very first spokesperson for Viva Glam. And, you know, people weren't featuring drag queens at the time. You know, MAC is, I think, one of the very first to feature people who are individuals who are trans, individuals who are part of the LGBTQ plus community. It's always just been something that has been very heavily rooted into the brand. And, you know, MAC's mantra is so much more than that. It is truly all ages, all races, all genders. They have been that person that I feel like has set the groundwork for a lot of the brands that are out now. And so it's just so close to the authenticity of where MAC stands. And I think because it comes from such an authentic place, you don't see us necessarily like, I mean, of course we tell people how many shades we have, but that's not our stance because we've been there. Like the brand's been there from the beginning talking about these things. And so, you know, it's just been such a maverick because no one was, again, also had like 100% giving models to support the HIV/AIDS community. And besides things for research, it was helping living needs. It was helping communities that were underserved, that were underseen, and just wasn't afraid to like go for that.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of started talking a little bit about it, but the MAC AIDS Fund, I mean, that is huge. That is something that when I first started shopping at MAC, that was one of the things that I loved, is that there was an initiative to give back as well as make you look and feel beautiful. You know, so let's talk about that. It was started in 1994 and it's raised over $500 million, y'all, $500 million. Yes. For AIDS and HIV.
One lipstick at a time.
Yes, Viva Glam products. So you've had a number of celebrities, Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, Nicki Minaj, that was one of my favorites, Ariana Grande. And recently MAC announced that Viva Glam would be donating $10 million to the COVID-19 relief. So why is it important for MAC to give back to the community, and what does the future of Viva Glam look like?
Oh my gosh, woo, Courtney. All right, well, that's so deep because this is a part of the brand that is, it's like in there. It's a part of the DNA, and it started in '94. I mean, with our founders, Frank Toscan and Frank Angelo, they started Viva Glam in '94. Think about it, it was the height of the HIV epidemic. They wanted to make a meaningful difference with people for living needs. People were hungry, people needed testing, people needed medical services, they needed a lot of things. And they started with this 100% giving model. And it's such a trailblazing moment because, I mean, logistically, I'm sure, I don't know if everyone understands like what a big deal that is. So like any retailer that has MAC in it, like they have to buy into the fact that they are buying product that they will not get money back from. And it's
I didn't realize
that kind of commitment from everyone who has a MAC counter in it to support something like this, because this is truly 100% of that retail selling price goes back to the Viva Glam Fund, which again, I don't hear a lot of that happening. I hear like percentages of proceeds and you know, like, but this is all of the money from that lipstick and lip gloss goes to the MAC Viva Glam Fund. And it's just like one of those things where I just think about, there have been initiatives that people don't touch and people don't talk about, like they funded needle exchange programs. Like they really, like the MAC AIDS Fund meets people where they are and really touches the true beginning, like the genesis of where people are at risk. And so again, if it is like about helping sex workers, and if it is about, you know, starting up after school soccer programs in Africa and things like that really help educate, you know, kids and meet kids where they are and give them something to do to occupy their time and educate through that system to help them not either transmit or contract HIV. Like it's been, it just moves me in so many different ways, and just to see it evolve over the years has just been incredible to watch. And I feel like people get it, like and I love the spokespeople that have been featured, and just even so, like the fact that HIV AIDS fight has come so far,
Right.
they're expanding the giving, and there are times when there's, you know, been a tsunami, or there's been, like, now that we have this pandemic, the Viva Glam Fund can come through with something like $10 million to donate
Right.
to local organizations around the world. And I just don't know of a brand, other brands that have such a commitment to that, and like can also get like the sauciest people in the game to
Right.
come through and put their personal story into the game with it, to come in and customize a color and just really be committed to communicating about and bringing awareness to those who are infected with, or influenced by, or affected by HIV AIDS and beyond.
Right.
There's like, we have women and girls programs, of course, there's the LGBTQ bit of Viva Glam, and there's, again, it's wherever people are who are at risk or need a touch point with this, that the Viva Glam Fund is there for them.
That is, like you said, it is moving. Like, hearing you talk about it kind of gave me chills, because I think it's important for people to realize, especially when you have a platform, that talking the talk means nothing when there's no action behind it. And to know that MAC has been doing this for over 20 years, 25 years, like, that is amazing. But to also see that it doesn't just stop at one philanthropic effort, it just spans the board. I love it. That touches the volunteer in me. Like, I love it.
And honestly, that's what, like, same, because being an employee with Matt, we do go out in the community. We do have, it's almost basically like an entire week where we're all able to go off of work and go help out the grantees that have received the funds. And it's incredible, like, especially around the World AIDS Day. We help people year round, but that is one time where they're like, yeah, you can leave in the middle of the day and go help during World AIDS Week. And there's AIDS walks around the country, and the teams are really committed. Again, like, we have already over 250 lipstick shades, but the artists are so committed to showing Viva Glam because they understand the need, and it gets me. Again, I get goosebumps.
Yeah.
I every time. And just like you said, what's the future of Viva Glam? It's coming. Viva Glam 26 is about to hit, and when I tell you,
I'm excited.
it's gonna be a game changer.
I'm excited. That's amazing. It almost renders you speechless to know that there is a brand out there working so hard to make an impact and to make a difference. If you already didn't love MAC, y'all, I'm sure you're like, look, let me go buy some Viva Glam, because it touches you. All right, so drag queens, transgender individuals, makeup can be so empowering and so affirming for members of the LGBTQ community. So in 2017, MAC teamed up with Refinery 29 to create a series of videos called Trans 102 in recognition of the annual Transgender Day of Remembrance. So how does MAC stay in touch with the LGBTQ community? I know you touched on it a little bit already. And how does it prioritize queer voices year round?
Yeah, it's top of mind. It's top of mind always. And in a way where, it's not like it's a box checked. It's about who is the face, like who is the person who can like, how many iterations can we show and demonstrate and celebrate people? And again, it's not a catchphrase for MAC. All ages, all races, all genders is it's just such a big part of how we all think. And it goes from, the shades of foundation that we have, to ensuring that, there's a breadth of different finishes that you can achieve, that it doesn't matter if you're on a stage or you are wanting to be your most natural self, no matter your sexual orientation or what have you, you can have that. And there are artists that will, meet you where you are and are looking forward to it, or educated on how to achieve the look that you want. And it's just so important, because it adds texture to our stories. It adds voices that matter from a creative perspective, that push not only the brand forward, but it pushes society forward. It's a part of the zeitgeist of what's happening. That's what I really feel like where MAC lives. And I think I'm hoping that people understand where MAC lives as a brand, is that it's about lifting people up. It's about shining lights in places that you wouldn't expect. It's about giving an extra layer or lens on something, giving someone a platform to speak about something that's important. And so when it comes to the LGBTQ community, like, again, like we have places like GLAAD, and we're a part of really challenging stigma. We're about challenging fear-based myths. We're challenging discrimination. We have so many artists within and employees who are part of the LGBTQ plus community. And again, it's just not just visible through marketing. It's a part of who the brand is. And again, just like participating in things like in Trans Week, and like partnering with Refinery 29 for that coverage is just really about, you know, featuring well-known and everyday trans people, and to begin a dialogue. And I just love that makeup can be that. And I love that, you know, for Pride Month, we have so many prides that we're a part of. MAC sponsored World Pride, MAC sponsors New York and LA Pride. It is in the game. It's been in the game for a long time. It's something I look forward to every single year. And so, you know, and they participate in prides across all regions of the world. And I just love seeing those MAC employees like marching in the parades and showing up in their t-shirts, and all of their family and friends just being there to support a community that is such an important one.
I love that. We love to see all of MAC's inclusive campaigns. We love to see them throughout the years. So in addition to external diversity and inclusion efforts, can you tell us how MAC's parent company, Estee Lauder, love Estee Lauder, is ensuring that diverse individuals are being promoted and hired into executive leadership roles?
I mean, think about Estee herself. She is such a visionary and has built a brand that houses so many powerhouse brands. And I do feel very fortunate to be a part of Lauder and be a part of MAC, where I truly know that I've always known that as long as I show up, I do the work, develop myself, that the sky is the limit. And I feel, that's why I'm here today. Like, again, like they have such a progressive way of thinking, and it floors me that like 84% of the ELC workforce is women, and things of like over 60% are millennials. And it's just one of those things where I see the people I'm around, and I'll walk in a room and it's cross-functional. It could be packaging, it could be the marketing team, it could be a region, and it truly does look like the United Nations in there. It's so cool. It's like all ages, everyone's there. And I mean, I think that it's one of those things too, that to think of all the board of directors, I love seeing how many, it's like, I think almost nearly half of the board of directors are also women. So it's top of mind. They're creating those spaces. They have incredible inclusion and diversity teams that, allow things like beautiful mentorship programs, because I am a mentor for the 21 CAP program at Howard University. And there's like over 25 incredible business students that we mentor over the months, and they, present a marketing strategy for an upcoming beauty product program. And to hear those innovative ideas, and to hear their questions, and to add that insight, it floors me all the time. Every time I have that experience with that group, I'm all, who does this? Like, brands are putting their employees in these positions to influence the future, and, having education and training workshops, and, it's all about high touch inclusion. They're always telling us about and reminding us of different levels of diversity and inclusion that sometimes can't even be seen. So, it's so much far beyond the physical.
Right.
I just love that it's all about finding those people at Spelman University and Howard's 21 CAP program. And, they're really like looking to place people in those Fortune 500 companies, and I just, again, it's just all the career fairs. I think that ELC is just such a banner brand when it comes to that. And it's a very exciting place to work because something new is always around the corner. And I just, my hat goes off to the ELC brand, and I just feel very thankful and blessed to have the opportunities that I have to also, pay it forward.
Mm-hmm. I remember this past February when Estee Lauder did the Black History Month campaign, and it shared all I believe there were executives that worked at Estee Lauder, and I was so floored and so happy. It brought me chills. Like, that was like vibes all day, because I was like, look at all these beautiful Black and brown faces. Look at us. So that was amazing. And I love to see that like you said, it transcends not just from one brand, but across the Estee Lauder company. That's amazing. So we know you're a MAC guru. We can tell, because clearly, look at that beat.
Courtney.
That was something light work for you, I bet. So we can't just end the interview, right? We need some tutorials. We need you to show us a little something. Okay. So when it comes to finding the perfect foundation, I know I've struggled with it, especially as a brown girl. My neck doesn't match the face, and then there's light, natural contour, everything. So can you walk us through the best way to shade match? And do you need to mix and match different shades? How do we do it?
I'm happy to help. Courtney. So, friends, I've got my MAC locks here.
It's about to get real, y'all. Are y'all excited? I am.
It's about to get so real. Well, that's how you know we're family. I'm here for the One Club creatives right now. So I'm gonna get closer to my screen. And what you were just mentioning is super important, is that you should take in like all the things that are being seen. Like, I'm wearing a sweater because it's still a little chilly here, but you want to take in your neck, you want to take in your shoulders, especially during the summertime, because sometimes they have a tendency to be a bit darker here. Yes. So you just want to take into consideration all of these different gradients of color and find a place for them to live within your building of your foundation look. So I'm just going to wipe this off. Here we go. And I say, when you're matching your foundation, you should start with your jawline. And you're seeing that I like to be like, my jawline is a little bit deeper just naturally. I don't know if anyone else is this way, that just like around my mouth and my jaw is a lot deeper than the rest of my face. So I don't match here only. I also match here as well, but this is the place you need to begin, because all of this has to transition properly. I want to make sure I'm at the right angle here. So I'm going to show you in our tried and true formula at MAC, Studio Fix Powder Foundation. I have to give it an homage. I'm going to take off my so I can really get into the game here. So I'm using a flat brush. This isn't normally what I would use to put on my foundation, but when it comes to shade matching, I like to use a flat brush so you can really see the color payoff and see if it's going to blend. So the first shade I'm going to use is NW45. And at MAC, I'm sure you all have heard, there's NWs and there's NCs. I think this is a better representation to say that. NWs are more warm, they have a more red undertone, and then NCs are more golden. And
if you're like an olive complexion, would you go with an NC or an NW?
You would definitely go for an NC, and that's a great question, because this is NC 50, and then this is NW 45. And so you're seeing like there's relatively on the right scale of depth, because the lighter, the lower the number, like 15, that's quite light, and then the higher the number, like up to 60 at MAC, is quite deep. So I'm more towards the end of the spectrum here in the 45s and the 50s. So that's where we're going to begin. And so I always like to show someone, like, more so, like, what do you see more of in my skin? Do you see more of the red, or do you see more of the gold? And then you have to consider also what your personal preference is. Some people don't want to be red, and that's okay. And that's why we would probably go here if you don't want to be. But if you're like, no, I love my rich tones, I love the mahoganies, I'm gonna go more warm because I want to look like a little toasted almond, you can go NW. And that's why I think where people think should realize that you have a lot of choice. It's not just about what technically matches you, it's also about your personal preference. Can you see what I just did?
Yes, I can.
I just want to make sure that everything's visible. So this is NW45.
That looks like
It's nice and warm, right?
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the NC50 and go right next to it. And so we start with like a pretty substantial swatch at first.
Right.
And then we should just like start blending and just see what happens next. Because we just want to see like, hey, like what's our first experience? How rich is the color? And then we go into blending it out and then seeing how it looks once it's blended.
So one of our viewers had a question about shade matching when it comes to oxidation.
Yes.
So how does that factor in? And they said, I find that color changes slightly after the air has mixed in with the foundation, which is the definition of oxidation.
Yes, that comes through, my pros. You know what? That's what I love about YouTube is that everybody is coming with the real questions. Like these aren't like little tiny questions. These are real questions.
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to ask for some help. Hey, honey. Hey, Jack. Can you do me a favor and grab? He's like watching me on the phone. Do you mind grabbing my Fix Plus out of this drawer right here? So when it comes to figuring out oxidation, because that is a real thing, I love to use a little bit of Fix Plus. And so while you're there, while you're at a counter, you want to just like mist your face. And then that immediately oxidizes the foundation. So you can really see what's going on and if it is going to change or be too deep. And so you can predict that at the counter. You don't have to have a guinea pig moment and see if you get home and it gets too dark.
I love that tip. Y'all better take notes. That's a really good tip because I didn't realize that.
Fix Plus is good for so many things, and that's like the final thing because that's what you need to do at the very, very end, at the end of the day, because especially if you're wearing a powder foundation, you just want it to set. And so since you start with powder, you mist it with Fix Plus to lock in the wear, even though it already wears really well. But I'm going to show you one more shade, which this is C7. And it's a little bit brighter. And that would be the shade that I would wear here. So let me just, you guys have to.
So C7 would be your concealer shade or your foundation shade?
That would be, I would say, I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to go to my real consumer moment.
Okay.
If you want to invest in buying 2 large foundations, you can definitely do that. And you can buy a lighter shade and buy 2 shades of foundation. Or if you want a more economical option, is that I would buy the NW45 and then I would probably purchase a concealer like Pro Longwear or the Studio Fix Conceal 24-hour concealer like this. And then I would put that on in the center of my face and blend it out. And then I would go around the edges of my face with the NW45 powder foundation to make sure that it all flows. And I feel like that's a modern way to wear your skin in general, because something like this concealer is self-setting. It's 2020, everyone. We do not have to powder our foundation for it to wear all day. So you put this on, you let it set by itself. You put the NW45 around the edges. Then you go in with your blush, right? Your contour, your highlighter, and then that's coverage within itself. So sometimes if you just like pare back on the layering and then think about all of your products as a whole and how it's gonna end up being the final look, you don't have to use as much product and it looks more real. Because really right here, that's like why the center of my face is glowing a little bit, is because I haven't powdered it with, there's not Studio Fix powder foundation here. It's just concealer, nicely powdered. You see I have my powder highlighter on, my blush is on. But so all of that ends up like adding to the setting effect. You don't have to bake. So that's kind of my recipe. I would just buy a lighter concealer for the center of your face, match your jawline,
Okay.
And voila, because skins with deeper skin tones, with melanin, naturally have a highlighted center,
Right.
a halo, a natural halo effect.
Mhm.
And so you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that dimensionality. So I say just really go, usually it's around 2 shades lighter or a shade lighter, depending on how much drama you're trying to bring.
Right.
I always say like the more sunlight, go 1 step lighter here.
Okay.
But the darker it gets outside is when you can start playing with the light more, and you can go to like 2 and 3 steps lighter, because the darkness isn't
Right.
going to reveal your smoke and mirrors moment with all of the contour.
Right. Okay, we have another question. Does doing the oxidation with the Fix Plus, does that also work with a liquid based foundation?
Oh, 100% it does. And a lot of the MAC formulas will not, like liquid formulas won't change. So you can absolutely do that with a liquid, but those have a lower tendency to oxidize.
Got you. Okay. So I have a question about, you started talking about contouring. When it comes to contouring, what is the difference between doing a contour versus bronzing? That's something I've never been able to figure out.
That is a great question. Okay, so a natural contour, it's a shadow. It's a shadowed effect, like how light will hit a 3D surface. And so just think about your skin tone with a little bit of gray added, because that's technically what it is, a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's when you start working within your exact undertone in a like shadowy way, that creates the contour. And whenever you start going into the actual nooks and crannies of your face,
Right.
like even like your eyelid, the crease of your eye, those are places that can look like a skin tone. When you're ready to bronze, like, I know it's probably a little graphic, but just like think about that beautiful, I don't know, like I think about like, it's like Saint-Tropez, like we're tanning on a boat deck. We are just drenched in sun's glory. We're a little bit baked, like I think about baked goods and like how they're a little bit crispy around, a little darker there. They're warm. We need to, that's when you get out your NWs. That's when you can get a darker shade. That's when you can whip out your blushes that have rosier tones. I have my little palette right here. You can whip out the blushes with the rosier tones, or pick up a blush, which is like what I'm wearing right now, that has a bit more copper in it, copper and orange. Cool. That will bring out, that's actually what I have right here. That'll bring out that suntan health. Peaches, that glow, anything that looks like peach and copper on a deeper skin tone is like a dream.
So you can bronze with a blush.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Bronze with a blush. I feel like that's the way to customize it, because you don't want to look muddy. Right. You want to add that natural sun essence, and that creates a warm tone. When we get tan, we get more red. So you need to bring back the red. And so I would say like, find either a foundation shade or find a blush that gives you that warmth. And if you are looking for a blush that gives you tan looks, it would be peach, like peach, bronze, copper, auburn, like rusty colors will give you that tan look.
Oh, beautiful. Now, when we're blending, right? So we've matched our jawline. Are we blending down into our neck, into our chest? Are we stopping at our jaw, like where our neck and our jaw meet?
That is a controversial question. Ma'am. I would recommend that unless you're wearing a gown, I wouldn't bring it down, just because I don't know about you all, but I have nightmares about white collars and foundation is very triggering for me. So I would say leave, if you have a really good match, you shouldn't have to bring it down. Again, like if you have a huge like V-neck moment, you're on a red carpet, of course, like slay them down to your of course, that's the time to do it. But for everyday purpose, no, like if you have the perfect foundation match, you do not have to bring it all the way down.
Okay, awesome. So we have another question. Okay. Now that we spend most of our days on Zoom calls. Could you share any tips for a 5-minute Zoom ready makeup routine?
I love that question.
Me too, because my Zoom ready makeup has definitely cut down to like 5 minutes. I'm just like concealer, highlight, bring a little glow to the situation, some blush, and brows.
Hey, you hit the Trinity.
Right.
Getting camera ready is the brightness around the eyes, because we can all look a bit tired under the eyes. And so brightening of the eyes with the concealer is a must. I would say if you're not used to doing a full brow, I would recommend either using a powder pencil or using a little bit of eyeshadow and just like brushing through your brows just to give them more of a frame. Mm-hmm. Definitely mascara. Everyone can do a mascara. And then I would also say you need a glowing powder, because when we're on camera, like right now, the look and feel is radiance is the key word of being attractive on camera. So just like I was spraying myself with Fix Plus, like I'm gonna do a little more right now. This is a new one actually. This is the Fix Plus Magic Radiance. It has all these magical like vitamin C, things that lighten, brighten, and tighten, but also like a touch of essential oil. So it gives you that elevated like spa. You see what it did?
Yes, yes.
Spa glow. Right. This is it. And so if you do that, pop on a gloss, just so you look moisturized, something with like that enhances your natural lip color. So I think that would be a super fast Zoom moment.
I love that.
I hope I answered that question. I could be on here all night answering
makeup questions. Girl, we can do it. No. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us, because I mean, now when I speak to people on Zoom, the question's always like, do you want to get on video? And most people, it's that they just don't want to take the time to beat their face. So I think a 5-minute look, brows, under eyes, mascara, a gloss.
For sure. I mean, like even like getting like a stick foundation, like our studio stick, like you just put it on and you blend it out with your finger really quickly, put on a bronzer and a lip gloss, boom. It's so simple, but it's just, again, about getting those formulas that you like. But MAC has been known for getting people camera ready for eons. So if that's your goal, like we've got you. Like all of this stuff is like HD ready. So no matter if you are on your cell phone or if you're on your laptop or desktop, you're about to look like a dreamboat with like zero effort. That's what it was made for. It was for cameras.
Okay, so we have one more question. How do you avoid flashback in photos? That used to be my worst nightmare, flashback.
For sure. You know what? You should really look at the ingredients in your foundation. There's a particular ingredient called titanium dioxide that's actually like tiny mirrors. It's often with things that have SPF in them. So when the light goes off, it's like getting the light flashing back, like there's millions of tiny mirrors in your skin products. So you should find something that's photo friendly. All of MAC's products are photo friendly. That was a claim that was very important for the brand. It's an evolution that came a little bit ago. And so just look out for things like that. And also, whenever you use Fix Plus or you use a setting spray, that really also helps with the flashback. So
I didn't know that
as well.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, because I've been playing with sticks and liquid and powder and creams. So do you have a preference for a foundation? This is like a multi-level question. Do you have a preference for the types of foundation? And what is your recommendation for someone with oily skin, someone with combo, and someone with dry? This is like 3-layer question.
Wow. Okay. So yes, I do have a preference. I personally love a moldable liquid. And when I say that, it's like something that has a high coverage, and then I can either dilute it with moisturizer or, shear it out with other things. And so I really love the Studio 24-Hour Smooth Wear Concealer. I love MAC's Studio Water Weight Concealer. Oh my gosh, that's super dreamy. It looks like real skin. And when it comes to someone who has an oily skin, you need to find a product that's built for that. So specifically, I love Studio Fix Fluid for an oily skin. It has a 24-hour wear. It controls oil for 8 hours. You don't have to worry about it. And you don't have to have a lot of powder on. You don't have to powder it. So I think that in itself makes it very special, because I remember, again, I'm from Texas, so I would have like a mattifying primer. I would have powder. I would have like all the layers. And Mac has done such a brilliant job over the years with this technology. Again, like the mothership, Estee Lauder has a brilliant lab that Mac's a part of. And so they really push a lot of these formulas ahead. And that's a great one for oily skin, like period. But remember, you oily skin friends, you have to hydrate your skin. You have to hydrate, you have to exfoliate. Otherwise, that's what helps regulate it. So, but if you have combination skin, I love a cream moment, especially on the areas that are dry, like Studio Tech. It's a hybrid foundation. I don't know if you, I feel like it's a sleeper hit at MAC. That's what I personally wear, is Studio Tech, because it has a radiance to it.
I love a foundation with a radiance.
It has a radiance. It has a killer coverage. If I really am trying to like let them have it, like if I'm trying to stunt a little bit, it does that. But if I also want to look very, very natural, I can just buff it on and it just melts and go. But again, when you have a combo skin, it's challenging because you get oily in places and you get very dry and textured in others. And having something that has soft focus optics like that, or that is known to control oil, is important, so that every single region of your face looks flawless.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
then
did you
it all goes in the game. Say that again.
Did you do dry yet? Dry skin?
I didn't do dry yet. Dry, yes. I say with dry skin, it needs pampering. It needs, you need like those layers of hydration. You need to start off with a moisture mist like Fix Plus. You need to have a gorgeous cream. You should put on a primer that is also drawing moisture from the air to the skin, like hyaluronic acid. Those things set you up for success for your foundation. And then, something like Natural Radiance, it's incredible. And then you put on your foundation, which I would say like the satin finish foundation is gorgeous on a dry skin. Our water weight foundation is gorgeous. The classic Face and Body is like, that's a run, like it's on every runway,
right?
Because it looks so real. But I just say like it's the setup, because that's really what's there, is that you need something that's going to bring moisture to your skin throughout the day, so you don't end up getting those dry areas that get throughout the day. I mean, you can even, again, like something like Fix Plus Magic Radiance, like you spray this on and then like instantly you're revived, refreshed. And
I love a good refresher.
You have to have it. I mean, the environment is trying to steal our beauty.
Yes. And I told people, I was like, work on your skincare, because that's the best way to get a beautiful foundation for your makeup. So I love that you mentioned like prepping your skin with hyaluronic acid and just doing all that prep and primer work. Wow. So we had one question. Now we have another question. So the questions are starting to roll in. Okay. So how do you avoid under eye concealer sinking into fine lines? Ooh, this is a good one.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so you need one. You need a self-setting. You need a self-setting concealer, and then you need to monitor before. You need to set it as soon as possible, because that's the thing. Is like wherever skin touches skin, it wants to roll it up.
Yeah.
So I also recommend using a brush like this. A lot of people use really flat, hard brushes for their concealer. And these kinds of brushes are like shovels. They're firm, they're bossy, they pick up a lot of product and they lay down a lot of product. And I would say if you want to have something that looks more natural, and you also want, not necessarily natural, but if you also want to not have collecting product, this really does blend things. You can control what you're doing. So that's why for me, I always do my face first. I don't do my eyes and my brows first. I do my skin first.
Your complexion first.
I do my complexion first, and when I get under my eye, I immediately set it with a very I use our Prep and Prime transparent finishing powder. The lightweight powder has soft focus optics in it, so it makes the skin look better than it started. So set it with that very, very quickly, and then you shouldn't have any creasing.
Okay. do you say, so I know you recommended that brush. What do you say about using like a beauty sponge for under eye or for even foundation?
Yeah, I love beauty blenders. Like again, like this is a 224 brush if anyone wants to know, but I love a beauty blender because again, it also is one of those that it gently taps out everything. But remember, it doesn't matter how little or how much product is there. If it's not set, it's going to squish. It's going to squish and fold up in the line. That's just how it works. I'm also sometimes a fan of, you know, trying out, like, do you want to do a smokier eye? Because then you don't have to worry about as much concealer under there, and it can add like a special element to your makeup. It doesn't have to be very dark. It can just be like a little bit of shadow under there in a softer brown that can make your eyes look really beautiful, and but also handle the cover up of darkness under the eye.
I love that. I recently started learning how to do smokiness under the eye because I have really bad dark circles. So I was always afraid, I'm just putting dark circles back on my face after I did makeup, but there's a nice little technique I figured out.
Look, I mean, that's my claim to fame. Look, like,
I love it. I haven't gotten to that level yet, but I'm trying. I'm
professional in here. I'm showing you guys all my stuff, all my challenges.
Okay, so we have one last question. I love this question. It's from a viewer. Okay. I love that MAC has been such a champion of diversity. They have definitely set the bar and changed the makeup industry in positive ways. How do you plan on pushing the envelope even further?
Yes, I love that question.
Great question.
That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to be a change agent. And where I really plan on bringing this to a place that is going to make, I want everyone to be an artist. I want everyone to feel creative, and I want everyone to feel empowered to have makeup be the tool that it is. I feel like we're in a place where fashion is going to be affected post-COVID. I think that beauty and makeup in your signature look and developing that is going to be a thing. And I am just like, I'm here to street cast. I'm here to like level the playing field. I'm ready to talk to the kids. I'm ready to talk to the groovy grandpas and groovy grannies. I don't know if you all noticed that we're putting a lot more male beauty and the spectrum of that, which could be like a basic male grooming to something that is more transformative. That's really where I plan on pushing it, is that I want people to understand that MAC is basically your art store, where it doesn't matter if you're doing mixed media, it doesn't matter if you're doing finger paints, if that's where you're coming in, it doesn't, we meet you where you are, and we have the tools. Like we are ready to explain to you why you would want 5 different black liners, because they're all going to give you a different effect. And then once you learn that and you embrace your beauty fingerprint, like you can truly do whatever you please and honor all of your features. So that's really where I see it. And you'll just see more iterations of gorgeousness and more representation out there for sure, because that's how I cast it, and that's how the brand casts it on a bigger space. So
I love that.
Make more touchable.
I love that you said, like, this is, it's like your art store. You can go in and do whatever. That's really what makeup is for me. Like, I'm the canvas, and I can just take my look any way, which way, level I want to do. So that's amazing.
For sure. Because I mean, MAC has so many things. It's like such a big brand. We could put you in a kit. Like, of course, we could tell you like what's cute.
Yeah.
We do that too. But I think there's a bigger thing that happens there when you can just feel safe to venture out and try new things.
I love that. Alrighty, so we're gonna wrap up. I want to say thank you so much, Ashley, for doing this with me, and most of all, thank you, One Club, for getting me and Ashley both on. This was amazing conversation. I hope that everyone who was watching got a lot of insight into what MAC is doing for inclusion and diversity and how to shade match. We answered some of your makeup questions. Make sure you follow us all. So on Instagram, it's the One Club for Creativity. And you can also head to their website because they have a lot of other events coming up for the month of May. So you can head over to oneclub.org and get the entire schedule. And Ashley, I'll let you go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you.
Oh, fun. Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Ashley, and this classic spelling, ASHLEY_Rudder, like the boat, RUDDER.
And everyone can find me at Curls and Couture. So everything is spelled out CURLSANDCOUTURE. Such a long name.
So good.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for all that insight and the tutorial.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Bye, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, One Club.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, One Club. Bye.
Bye.